Let's talk about creative control from capture to print. What's up everyone, my name is Sal Cincotta. I am a Canon Explorer of Light and I am an avid printer using the Canon products. So first of all, let's just get started with how hard or easy it is. You may be a professional photographer, but you've never explored self-printing. And I think that's something that is truly important as a photographer, is really to see your product through from beginning to end. We spend all this time on the front end of what we're doing, focused on, right, color profiles, our cameras, post-production, but then we deliver a file to our clients that can come across as flat. Maybe they're not printing it correctly. Maybe they're looking at it on their iPhone versus our monitors. So there's a host of issues that sit between what we create and what that final product is. And so I really do love printing because it gives me the ability to control the end product. So let's just start with that, right? The first thing you have to do is select a printer. Well, I guess the first thing you really need to do is decide you want to control the destiny of the image that you've created, right? So let's just assume you're on board with this. The next thing is to decide what printer you want. And one of the reasons I love working on the Canon platform is because from pro level and large format all the way down to desktop, we have options for printing. They don't have to be expensive. You've got options like the Pro 200S, the Pro 310, the Pro 1100, which you're seeing here. And then of course, we've got larger format, they're 4000 series, right? But just stay in the present here. We don't have to go with a large format footprint. We can easily get started with some of the smaller options. Now, the big difference is gonna be paper size. The Pro 200 and the 310 are gonna support up to 19 inches, 13 by 19, whereas the Pro 1100 is gonna support up to 17 by 22 inches. So really you're just making size decisions at that point. The ink, the end result, it's all gonna look the same. It's the same quality you're looking for. So just start there. For what we do today, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to print and control that final product using the Pro 1100. It is my favorite, it's in my studio, and I use it constantly. All right, so hopefully the hard decision's over. Let's set up the computer to start printing. All right, so let's get started with our laptop. For me, I'm using Lightroom. That's what I use as my primary tool, and it's got, printing built in. Now, I will tell you, back in the day, you had to use special RIP software. It was complicated, it was expensive. Nowadays, that is built into the tools. It just makes printing that much easier. Really important note, the entire point of this conversation is to control your destiny, control your product end to end. One of the most important things you need to do, I watch photographers miss this step all the time, is calibrate your monitor. This is so important. I use a tool like Datacolor Spider Pro. It is in my bag at all times. Now, pick your tool of choice, but calibrate your monitor. Why? Because your iPad, your Mac laptop, your Mac monitor, if you're using an LCD monitor, they all are different. And even if you have two monitors from the same company, those two monitors might have different reds, yellows, greens, right? Different color profiles. So it's so important to calibrate it so that what you're seeing on your laptop looks as close to the print, looks as close to what you captured as humanly possible, right? And something to consider, by the way, I can print something and depending on the type of light I put it under, right? It's gonna look different. But your job is not to allow for all those variables, it's really to control your ecosystem. That's my capture, that's my editing, that's now my laptop monitor. I mean, if you're editing on a laptop monitor that's not calibrated, even that's not gonna look right across different mediums. So it's so important that step, don't miss it. It's not an expensive tool, just invest in that so that your monitor is now calibrated. Okay, so now once I've got my software calibrated, all I'm gonna do is download and install the Canon drivers for this. And what that's gonna do is install all the various Canon paper types. Whatever you can dream up, there's a paper. Semi-gloss, matte, rag paper, various other photo art papers, gloss paper, semi-gloss, whatever you're looking for, it's there. Some of my favorite, honestly, are matte and a rag paper, a fine art rag. So we're gonna print on both here. This is also another reason why I enjoy printing, is because sometimes you capture an image and the way you print it, the paper type you choose can really change the final look and feel of that image, right? If it's fine art, I don't want this on glossy paper. I don't want this on a metallic paper. I want this on a rag paper, a fine art paper. But again, the beauty of owning your own print setup is I can actually test and look at an image right, under the light and say, I like this, it looks better on fine art than it does semi-gloss. Just test it. It's so inexpensive to print on your own. So let me stop talking, let's get to it. So I'm gonna pick, when I go into Lightroom, you see it on my screen, this is a recent shoot. I'm gonna pick an image that has got a lot of different color profiles, some really deep shadows in it. This was a photo shoot we did here in St. Louis, and it's a beautiful image with some depth. I wanna be able to control, especially those skin tones, and make sure everything's looking right. So all I'm gonna do from Lightroom at this point, once I've installed that software, is hit Command P, right? And now this is gonna put me into the print module, and you'll see that up here in the top right. So one of the things you wanna do is set up your printer. So we'll set print settings. That's gonna pop up a screen here. And what we wanna do is just make sure we're using the Canon Pro 1100 or whatever model you've installed. Save that. The next thing we're gonna do is page setup. And so we're just gonna make sure that we have the right paper size selected. So for this print, we're using a 17 by 22. So we can manage custom sizes, or it's in here already. It's the ANSI C, it's 17 by 22 borderless. So we'll just select that, hit OK. Okay, so now we've got the correct paper type here. This is another beautiful part of working within this software. I can now save this setup and this paper size as a preset and as a template. So now the next time I come in and print using this software, I've got that template there. I don't even have to go through these steps. Why does that matter? Well, maybe you're printing for your client 8 by 10s, 11 by 16s, et cetera, et cetera. Well, on a page that's 17 by 22, you can print multiples on a page, right? So to maximize it. So let's just say, for argument's sake, we'll set this up as an 8 by 10. So what we'll do now here on the right is we will set up and give us multiple cells. So I can now change the page grid, right? And you can see what we're doing here. I can have one row, multiple columns. So now I could maximize this in theory and print 2 8 by 12s. So maybe I'm gonna print 2 different images here, and now they're up on my screen, and I can maximize that 17 by 22. And then of course I can save this template for future prints, depending on what I'm doing with it. For this demo, I'm just gonna use this for one print. So we're gonna bring the columns back down to 1, and we will make this 16 by 20. I'll just type that in. Okay, now we could go edge to edge, but 16 by 20, I know I can find a frame for that, right? That's something I can sell to my client. Okay, so now I've got that size. I can save this now, so let me show this to you. I can now come in here under User Templates, hit plus. So what I'm doing in the template is I'm saying 17 by 22 paper size, 16 by 20 print, and just hit create. Now I've got that template here, and I'll show you what I mean. I can now do what I was talking about. I can create 2 columns here. So now I can say I want to print 2 8 by 12s on this, right? So I've changed my size. I've given myself 2 columns here. Now I want to save this. So I'm going to save this, and we'll call it 17 by 22 paper, and we will call this 8 by 12 times 2. Okay, and hit create. So now I've got my template there. Now the next time I come back in and print, I just go, well, I want to print 116 by 20. Boom, done. Now I don't have to worry about this, changing this every time. It just becomes really easy to start printing this way. Perfect. So now once I've created these templates, it's super easy to come back in and print. I just select those templates, and I can have my paper size is already selected, and then the cell size is selected. So am I printing a single image? What size am I printing it? Stuff like that. So again, super easy. So let's just go, we're gonna print a 16 by 20 here. So we'll go back to this. Now the next thing we're gonna do is on the right-hand side, really the print job, this is where most of this is happening, right? We can do all sorts of things, change the page background color, but add a watermark. That's just not typically what I want to do here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to come down to the printer, and I'm going to select Profile, Managed by Printer. We're going to let Canon manage this, not let the computer manage it. All right, so actually, before we print, let's talk about soft proofing for a second here. So soft proofing is built into Lightroom, and it just allows you to see kind of sort of what the print's going to look like on paper. But remember, it's a soft proof. It's not a real proof, but I think it's worth showing you. So what I'm going to do is go into the develop mode. Now, a lot of photographers probably don't even realize they can do this. In the bottom, right, you're going to see your image, and then underneath here, you're going to see something that says soft printing. If I click on that soft printing, I now see what this image is going to look like, or a version of it, on whatever paper type. So we can select semi-gloss. This is the photo paper matte. So we're going to see the difference digitally, what it looks like. It's a great way to kind of get a feel for it, but nothing is going to replace just ripping one of these out and looking at it under the light. So I just wanted to cover that for you to let you know you could do it. So now we go back into the print module here. We are going to say managed by printer, and then we are going to select printer one more time. So what we're going to do is go to the printer, and we're going to select printer options, because remember, we're letting the printer manage this. We are going to select quality and media, and this is going to pop up a dialog box which allows us to select the correct paper. And this is what's important so that everything matches. So we are using the Photo Paper Pro Premium Matte. Okay, so we would go here, and that is under fine art, right? I really feel like that's the right paper for this. We're going to select that. Manual feed, the paper's in the printer already, print quality high, hit OK. Now we hit print, and this thing is off to the printer. Ooh, it's looking pretty. All right, so one of the things I did here is I printed it in matte, and I showed you what it was gonna look like when we were soft proofing, and I printed it in semi-gloss, and they're beautiful pictures, and this is a lot of black ink, and it's still, you're seeing the same detail that's in the actual digital file, right? So I love that. I love the matte look of this. But the semi-gloss, I think, is probably a better way to print this, especially since you're seeing all that detail in the latex dress, right? So we want to feel that shiny, wet look. So I think semi-gloss would be the right way to print and deliver this. All right, so there we have two different paper options, right? The matte and the semi-gloss. I think that particular image looks good in semi-gloss, but again, this is why I like having control of the process. So let's print one more. I'm gonna be a little greedy here. This time I'm gonna show you a different way to print. We're gonna use the Canon printer tool to control it. So on my laptop now, I've got another image here. It's a photo shoot in the desert, and I just feel like this particular image is gonna look good on a matte paper, right? With the red and the white just popping. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Lightroom, and you don't have to go into the print module for this. So you go to File, Plugin Extras, and we're gonna use the Canon Professional Print and Layout tool, okay? And this is just another way to print. And so here, it's gonna bring the image I was working on right into the tool, so it makes it really easy. So now let's just navigate down the right-hand side and work on all the settings. All right, so we're gonna select our paper type. So we're gonna do fine art paper, and we're gonna do the photo paper premium matte. Okay, it's gonna be the 17 by 22. And again, all the same settings we're used to seeing. Just for the sake of time, we will print an 11 by 16. So we're adjusting our settings here. All right, so we're gonna put print quality on highest. We're gonna select alignment center, so it's in the center of the paper. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna select the printer profile. We don't want it to be on auto. We wanna select the paper type that we're using. And here we're using the premium matte. So we'll select that. And then color mode, we're gonna say use the ICC profile. And then at this point, we are ready to print. So let's hit print now that all our settings are right. And again, this is another tool where I can, up at the top here, I can save these settings and say save current settings. And we'll just call this fine art. We'll do the same thing, 17 by 22, premium matte, I believe. Okay, hit OK. And now we have those settings saved for the next time we come in and print. Now we're gonna hit print, and we should be ready to go. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Hopefully this shows you how easy it is to control the process from the thought in your head, image creation and capture, all the way through to final product delivery. Actually, I just hope it gets you excited to start considering print. That is the ultimate for me, is to really see my work come to life off the computer screen onto paper. And then finally, consider Canon's printer lineup. They have got something for everyone. We are part of the Canon family when it comes to print. We'll see you in the next video.